Sports Cypher. Prepare for another all-nighter.
On the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
We were talking about MLB, and if you happen to be a baseball enthusiast like we are, and you have an opinion about the whole steroid and how they're pursuing this, and if your question was, is a 100-game suspension if a player is found to have violated the PED policy that the MLB has, is 100 games too many? Your thoughts, 773-591-1690. Of course, if you happen to be a social media guru, go ahead and tweet to us at the Sports Cypher. Remember that Cypher with a Y. I know this sounds crazy. I'm just kind of over it. The game has been ruined. It's tainted. And let's be honest, as fans, if we behave as if we didn't, let's just step all the way back to the Sosa and the McGuire era and the home run when they were hitting balls.
15 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? 15 years ago, and they were like, hitting balls out the park, and you saw the power, and you saw their juggernaut necks. There's no way that you didn't know. I knew when I looked at both of them that they were roided up. But it was really good for baseball and people were watching. So here's my question. Does it make me two-faced if I now say, well, if you're still using, then shame on you? Because the game is already tainted. It's tainted. I'm not going to sit here and stand on my soapbox because it made it interesting to watch, and I watched it.
Yeah, and some of my favorite players, I was kind of dancing around, Trout and Harper earlier.
No to them. No.
No what? No, they're not.
No, they're not.
You got to look at a guy look at his physical, look at his stature.
I don't think that Bryce Harper is.
Maybe him, but look at Mike Trout. Look at him.
Okay, Trout's a little thick, but he might be thick for the right reasons. Genetics. DNA. We ain't seen Mama and Papa. Maybe he's a corn-fed Texas boy or something. I don't know. But he doesn't come. I'm not saying. And here's the thing, too. All new PEDs don't even necessarily make you bulky. That's just how good they've gotten. That's what pitchers, the PEDs that they use, doesn't bulk up their arms. It just, it gives them more flexibility and their strength. So the new generation of PEDs doesn't even make you bulky anymore, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, that's a good point. But, what it does is it enables you to work out a little longer, which gives you, because I talk to guys that do that stuff, and it just gives you that endurance that a regular guy like me or DeMons, wouldn't have as far as being able to stay on those weights and take that pain and all that stuff. So, so in essence, it is making guys bulkier. You know what I mean? So, I'm torn right now. It's like the instant replay thing. It's like everything else with baseball. I'm so on the fence about everything that has to do with baseball right now. It's just ridiculous. My heart is like in one place, and then my brain is telling me like, man, you need to, kind of loosen your love to this. I'm halfway out the door.
I got a question for both of you all. How about we just go ahead and let bygones be bygones, whatever you want to say, and just say, you know what, they play 162 games. The teams that make it to the playoffs got to play another 20 games, whatever like that. Let them just do it. They need it. Because you know what? We have this mentality with football that we just close our eyes to it because those cats are bigger and better than they were 20 years ago, and their bodies need a little help. Baseball players need a little help, too, because they play so many games.
Do they?
I think so. Because of the hitting and just the physical beat down, if you want to say, of football, yeah, they probably need help, and we turn a blind eye to it. We accept it. Not a blind eye. We accept it because the guys who go to the Pro Bowl, we found out they get popped. Okay, 4 games. Oh, it's whatever. Sean Marion, whatever the case may be. Yeah. Baseball players. Oh man, we gotta drag them through the coals. What is this? Gotta hang them out to dry.
Well, first of all, it's illegal. Period. By law, it's illegal to use steroids. That's the first thing you've already. Right. But we know a lot of athletes have no issue with violating the law. That's part of the culture.
But you can go to GNC and still get something too that's going to help you out.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There are things that technically are legal.
Yeah, they have legal supplements
that can help you be a good player, and you haven't violated anything. But that's just not good enough because the faster, stronger. Everybody wants to be Steve Austin, and they're not going to be Steve Austin. That's the bottom line. FYI. The Bionic Man, if you don't know who that is.
Right.
If you don't know. It isn't. And the question is, are the fans turning the game into this? Or is the league allowing the game to turn this? Where does this desire to be bigger, faster, stronger, where does it come from?
I think as a fans, we live in a microwave society. We want things right now. We want the greatest thing right now. Yeah, you're going to do what you need to do to get that paycheck, Faruq. You're going to do what you got to do.
Yeah. No, that's not us. We don't get the paycheck. We get to pay exorbitant amount of money to go watch them get that big
right.
paycheck.
I'm just saying from an athlete's perspective, they're going to do what they need to do. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. But if the fans want it, there's long ball and whatever the case may be, I just think now we have to accept honestly, we have to accept the fact that baseball players do this because they play so many games. They need that extra juice to get by to entertain you. So just let them go ahead and do what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean by kind of being stuck in the middle. Like, I'm feeling that, but I'm also feeling like, man, how can you know, this isn't like football where you must be a prime athlete in order to be great at this. There are guys out there. Look at Valverde, even though he sucks now, but for a couple years, he had that pot belly and was getting everybody out.
John Kruk.
Yeah, guys like that. You know, big
Big
fat.
buck Kruk.
Yeah, guys come lumbering up there and hitting 320 home runs every year and had no type of physical conditioning, whatever.
But see, here becomes the ramification if we justify this and say it's okay. Then kids that this is their dream to play in the MLB now feel that it's a criteria.
They're doing it now.
No, I'm just
based
saying.
on what
But I'm just saying, if no one gives a smack on the hand and say that it's wrong, then this behavior will start, as we've already discussed. It's starting younger, which means there's even more damage that can be done in the long run.
I know this is going to sound really naive, but I can't believe that parents are letting their kids do it. I know that's pie in the sky, naive and stupid, but I honestly can't believe.
You don't watch things like
there's
Toddlers and Tiaras. You don't watch this kind of stuff to see how
Honey Boo Boo.
how these pageant moms are so engrossed in this.
But
and
they're not letting their kids inject stuff into them that can hurt them
but
physically.
Faruq, they're like dressing them up like little women and makeup and the hair, and it's over the top.
But I agree with that, but even with that still, as bad as that is, they're not letting their kids ingest stuff that can kill them.
Yeah, because at some point when that girl maybe hits 14, and let's just say she doesn't have quite the rack of like a... I stopped myself on that. She's not quite stacked.
Of a Carmen Hayes.
Stop. Hey, take me out that conversation. I didn't do it. I did not do it. My point is, all of a sudden when she thinks it's okay for her daughter to have breast implants because guess what? That's what it takes to win. Or if she's saying, go get liposuction, or here, starve yourself, or, go binge because you got to throw, because you can't. I'm just saying, it builds into bigger things. It starts as one of my favorite sayings from the movie Prometheus, which was hot garbage, is small things. Big things have small beginnings.
Yeah. It's the extreme overachieving.
So
that's
I'm not saying so. If we say this is okay, we are laying the platform for this only to get worse and to really become the true culture. I mean, is it safe to say at this point, as I think Bud Siegel is trying to do, like, we're going to address this, we're going to rat this out and make it end and try to clean up baseball? Mm-hmm. Now, you're always going to have people that are violators, but the truth be, if the penalty is stiff, like 100 games, and somehow if you start working things into your contract, I bet you, see, money talks. And if things get worked into your contracts, that if you, for instance, because let me finish my point. If you get banned 100 games, that means you are of no use to me as an organization. Yeah. So if things get built into the contract, if you get banned 100 games, it's 100 without pay, and maybe you got to pay money back, that might change people's perspectives on wanting to use steroids.
Okay, are you ready for another strike? Because the union's not going to let that happen.
But let's put it this way. MLB can come real strong and say, you really shouldn't have an issue with this because it's already against the law and it is affecting the teams. If I'm signing someone like Alex Rodriguez to 12 years, $265 million, and outside of injuries, now with PEDs, he's going to be missing for 100 games, there may be some room for this to be added because here's the thing. Using steroids is a choice.
I'd be with you. I think it could happen if it was NFL or NBA. But the MLB union is on a whole nother level compared to those two leagues, or even NHL. These guys, for some reason, more than other sports, their legs are a whole lot stronger than
yes,
the other three sports.
Well, I think the union already came out and said that they agreed to drug testing.
That's what I'm saying.
I just don't think they'll let you put it in their contract.
But
hey, if you get popped by this.
But that's step one. That's the very first step to saying, let's do testing. And if this is really this whole biogenesis thing may really open up the can of worms that the MLB needs to start this kind of inquisition and saying, look, if a player gets banned, they can no longer play. And if I've paid the contract and given the monies, if they're no longer available to me, I've lost a major asset based on their free will and choice. And that's why I'm saying it's not highly improbable that it's coming down the pipeline. And I don't think owners will fight it because, look at all the players like your Milky Cabreras and your Alex Rodriguez, and those are big money players that now they had to miss games. And think about that. That affects a whole lot.
And then with that thing too, the name, the cachet of those names, like Cabrera has been the biggest name probably that's really gotten hit with anything that I can think of. Maybe there's somebody else, but I mean, he was a batting leader at the time when he got popped. So is there going to be like a name is my thing. Like, are they going to be hesitant to
Alex,
nag a
I
name?
told you, Alex, that's the guy. That's who they're going to go after. And I will say this, and it pains me to say it, that even though in a lot of Latin countries it is the culture to use steroids and it isn't against the law and it's practice, this now means the MLB has to step back and go look at one of their biggest imports into the league, which is players that come from these Latin countries. How do you contend with something that you know already is a culture for them? And if you look at the list of offenders, as I said, it pains me how many of them really are Latin. Almost 90% of them.
Right.
You take off Braun right about now, everybody else comes from that culture, generally speaking.
Faruq, the name you would have to hear is Miguel Cabrera. I think that name, because he's a Triple Crown winner, and he's probably going to do it again this year,
what
the
it's
way he's
looking
playing.
like, yeah.
You're going to have, it's sort of like our whole discussion we talk about gay athletes. A big name has to come out. Mm-hmm. Alex Rodriguez is, equal to Jason Collins.
No, he's better. No, he's better.
No. I know he's better
Yeah,
player.
but,
I know he's a better
but
player.
I know what you're saying.
You see what I'm
but
saying?
No, they're
I
not on the
still
same
don't-
stratosphere. They're not even the same.
No. What I'm trying to say is the fact that A-Rod's at the end of his career. Jason Collins is, okay, who are you? You need that big name, that right now name.
But here's the thing.
To be able to
At the
really
prime,
pop it.
in his prime.
In his prime.
I
Yeah,
say
get
yes and no to
pop
that
it.
because I'll tell you right now. Derek Jeter is at the end of his career, pretty much. He's out of his prime. If his name comes up on the list, that's a big deal to people because he's that boy next door. He's the poster boy for, the Yankees organization that started in their minor league system and worked his way through. I mean, he's American loving baseball. Though he may be past his prime, if his name comes up on the list, it's a big deal. Bottom line. So Alex Rodriguez, at this moment, he's way bigger than Jason Collins was. He's relevant, and he's a very polarizing figure to begin with. He's exactly what they're looking for. He's right on that cusp. He's perfect.
Well, this tweet kind of sums it up. You can tweet us at the Sports Cypher. I don't sweat what's happening in the game. Doesn't bother me in the least. And that's from our guy at Tailored NYC on Twitter. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going through a lot of people's heads with this thing now. And it's old news, with the whole McGuire thing. Like I was saying, that's 15 years ago, McGuire. So.